There are a lot of disturbing stories out there in the world. Mainly, they have to do with true crime or some kind of paranormal disappearances. But what about those that are just people in unfortunate situations? Or being at the wrong place at the wrong time? If you haven't caught the gist of it yet, I'm going to be diving into a new content series featuring my darker self, where I talk about unfortunate, true, and dark events. So if you like this kind of stuff, let's get started with the first episode. In 2015, a Florida married couple, Matt and Susan Davis, decided to spend their Christmas holiday with their family on a spur-of-the-moment cruise aboard the luxury ship Carnival Ecstasy. This 855-feet vessel contains 4 floors of passenger suites and another 6 floors of onboard recreation, dining, and entertainment features such as bars, pools, musical theater productions, etc. The first 2 nights went exactly as the Davis had expected. They took multiple selfies with the whole family aboard the cruise to document their time and enjoyed the numerous features provided to them on the ship. However, on December 27th, the last day of the cruise, while walking over towards the buffet restaurant on the 10th floor for dinner, Matt and Susan hear the sound of rainfall coming from the elevators that they needed to pass by to get to the restaurant. Curious as to why there was the sound of rain inside the ship when there never has been this kind of sound before, the couple took a closer look at where the noise was coming from and was instantly hit with the smell of rust, followed by the sights of a mysterious red ooze dripping down the front of the elevator. It took them a while to connect the red ooze and the metallic smell together, but eventually they realized that what they were seeing was not some regular red liquid, but actually blood spilling from above the elevator shaft and soaking onto the carpet underneath. Now, I'm not really sure why Matt did this, but I'm guessing because of disbelief, he whipped out his smartphone and started taking pictures and recording the struggling doors as it tried to open all the way, but couldn't, as if something was either jamming or stuck inside the electrical motors or the door railings. Within minutes, a nearby Carnival staff started ushering the 10 or so witnesses to get inside the buffet restaurant, while an urgent page was made overhead for a medical team to arrive. Inside the restaurant, passengers who were unaware of the situation were leisurely enjoying their meals, but for the 10 or so witnesses, they could absolutely in no way stomach any kind of food after seeing and piecing together what could have possibly happened outside the restaurant doors. On top of that, imagine eating with the constant dripping noise echoing in your ears. Now, I'm not 100% sure if people could actually hear it, but according to one witness account, they could, and it was not pleasant at all. Confused and not liking being left in the dark, Matt started asking around for some answers. He managed to get a hold of one of the waiters, who only told him that a staff had gotten hurt, but no other information or details were shared. No one had any idea of the severity until a supervisor finally shared that an electrician had passed away. Within 45 minutes of the discovery, the hallway was cordoned off with signs telling passengers that the elevators were not working at the moment, and witnesses were stuck inside the restaurant until further notice. As soon as the cruise ended, many witnesses went on to call and write to Carnival customer service about the graphic scene and how the luxury ship had covered up everything without taking the witnesses aside and at least giving them some sort of information as to explain what had possibly happened. According to one witness, Carnival's only response back was a dismissive, "Is that all?" and a, "They would make a note of the feedback." Unfortunately, because the Carnival Ecstasy vessel is registered in Panama and operates under the Panamanian flag, Occupational Safety and Health Administration in Florida decided to not investigate the death because it occurred in international waters. In the end, the whole incident would have been swept under the rug by Carnival if it wasn't because of the video that Matt had released to Fox 4 News. That investigations were somewhat done, and the events were made public. What actually happened is a little fuzzy in terms of details due to the whole international waters issue, but the main understanding from preliminary investigations and subsequent news articles post-accident is as follows. For Chief Electrician Jose Sandoval Opazo, 66 years old of Italy, the day of December 27, 2015, was a typical day aboard the Carnival Ecstasy as it had been for the past 17 years of him working there. As usual, the elevators were less than perfect as he has often complained to his family, thus resulting in the usual routine maintenance on it. It is unknown why Opazo chose to work alone in the elevator that day, but he did and got to work repairing the elevator on the 6th floor. At around 6:15 p.m., while Opazo was working away, he suddenly felt a jolt and heard the unmistakable sound of the wires and elevator coming alive. It shouldn't have been allowed to move if all the safety systems were correctly disabled, and unfortunately, there was no signs of elevator under construction anywhere on the floors, and someone pressed the button to call his elevator. Caught off guard, Opazo, who was standing on top of the elevator, presumably fell and was crushed against the walls of the elevator shaft when it moved from the 6th floor to the 9th floor. Police investigators found a jumper cable on the elevator override system, which is a common practice used by electricians to override safety systems. Police goes on to explain that foul play is unlikely as there were no evidence of tampering with any equipment, and eventually Opazo's death was ruled out as just an unfortunate accident caused by human error. Ultimately, because Opazo was technically hired under international labor laws, his family's lawyer decided to give up on the idea of going to trial as compensation under maritime law is minimal, so the family eventually reached a settlement with Carnival out of court. Opazo was only 2 months shy of retiring, and he left behind his wife and 4 children. As for the witnesses, Carnival offered to pay for 3 counseling sessions over the potentially traumatizing incident for Matt and his wife Susan, while the other witnesses were given nothing. I have tons of unfortunate events I would love to cover in the future, so if you like how this new direction of content is headed, please leave a like and comment. It is my first time technically, so I understand there are going to be a lot of issues like how my reading was weird or pronunciations were off. If there could be any improvements done, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave it in the comments and I will do my best to adjust it for the next video. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can be notified when the next episode will be released. P.S. I has a Twitch channel for gaming. If you are interested, please follow and check it out. I promise I won't scream a lot. Link is in the description below. Thank you for listening.